Welcome, welcome back to the Stuff We Like, Stuff We Hate podcast, episode 41. It's been a while, fellas. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Law, and today we have, as always,
Big Mo B.
The Archangel David.
Your boy Madman.
man. And so, what has been going on, guys? It's been almost a year since we had a podcast and all that. Um, where do we want to begin? There's been so much that has elapsed in a year. We can't possibly cover it all today, but I guess what? Start at the most recent things and then work our way back.
Yeah,
Highlights. We could do highlights. I know for most of us on here, shout out to us here on the thing. I know back a few months ago, we all did the Amanda LaFaber event for the Black Panther screening, where we had Code Ninjas come out and we had drummers and cosplay and a museum exhibit. We rented out 2 theaters, right? So, we went all out. We had a great turnout. We had goodie bags. We had badges for everyone.
Original badge art.
Right, prize giveaways. So let's first and foremost shout out to everybody involved in that. We managed to pull that off, and it was a great experience, and people really enjoyed themselves. And with that, I guess, start there. Thanking, everybody from Cosplay Your Way, Beauty by Chata for doing the makeup in the hallway, the drummers, and just everybody that stepped up and contributed. Drew for coming through and doing photography. He and Nakia, just everybody.
I'm gonna give a shout out to everybody in the crew who was participating. Shout out to Vern, who's the co-lead of that project, Dr. Williams.
Absolutely.
Vern Williams, I call him Doctor just because he's a specialist in everything Black Panther. Give a shout out to Randy for doing those wonderful brownies. Give a shout out to Natasha for doing the white, the heart-shaped herb white chocolate. Like that was excellent. Shout out to Maya for helping us do like the communications. Give a shout out to Kobe for manning like the registration table and keeping the security apparatus in line. Shout out to just everybody. I know there are
Trying to
other
get the
people
line
who
up. Well, trying to get the sponsors to line up.
mentioned. Yeah, shout out to Leo Wajid. Shout out to Juanita Cato, who was instrumental in getting to Leo Wajid and his Code Ninjas Atlanta. Just really cool event. So thank you everyone for coming out. Also, all the vendors who were able to give us door prizes, and we're still trying to give those things away, but
Right.
It's still worked out to be a really, really cool event. So with that being said, who wants to start first? We'll start with likes first and save the hatred for the back end.
Oh man, well, hey, if we're gonna start off with lights, let's start off with lights and get controversial at the same time.
Oh boy.
Why not?
We
We've
go.
been for a minute. I actually loved playing Hogwarts Legacy, man. Like big Harry Potter fan, read all the books, watched all the movies, man. Touched those garbage games that came before, and wow, they finally made something worthy that really makes you feel like you're in that universe. So big shout out to them, man. Game made me just stupid happy, and I just need them to keep pumping DLC into that thing, and they'll keep getting my money.
But wait a minute, wait a minute. So you're supporting J.K. Rowling?
Hey, I read. Look, I don't care.
I just saw what you did. I knew what he was doing.
Because I read all that woman's books, and they were amazing. Her imagination is off the chain, and the movies were great too. And we
They are fantastic. It's like Star Wars.
Yeah. Now if they could only come up with some great toys. You know,
Man, it
Ain't that
actually, you
ain't nothing
know,
like Star Wars, man.
yeah, yes, it is. Think about it. You've got a young powerful wizard who's been abandoned by his parents to his aunts and uncles who really don't want to deal with him there because he was being hunted and killed by X, Y, and Z. I mean, really, Harry Potter's just Star Wars.
no,
Mm,
The
no.
parallels are there completely
nah,
That's
from
nah.
beginning to end.
bull,
Hell,
sir. That's a
right,
bull.
right.
Nah,
You don't have
Reach.
to have some Lord of the
it's not a
Rings,
reach. It lines up well. It lines up well.
I
man.
mean,
I mean, but we
could
appreciate y'all for trying.
no.
Boy,
It's like Moses. Like it's like a lot of things, bruh.
What,
It's
like
called the
Moses
hero's
Malone?
journey.
Like
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Moses
Okay.
Malone?
We
Thank
will
you, Doc.
not tolerate blasphemy. Come
Man,
on, man.
about the
That's a
hero's journey.
reach.
Yeah, it is just the hero's journey. Wrote a lot of cool things well. I mean, stuff that nobody ever thought of, like how the castle functions and the way they use their magic. Simple stuff like pictures being alive when you walk by them and ghosts floating around the castle interacting with the children,
I
just
mean,
talking.
that happens at Disney and the Haunted Mansion and everywhere else. That's been around for a minute.
Every living,
That's not the first movie for that to happen.
yeah, but we're talking about when you incorporate all these things well. Lord of the Rings wasn't the first thing to happen with elves and dwarves and all of that, but it
Let him
did it
have
so
he know
well.
he likes it.
I was
It's
like,
not often that he actually likes anything.
hold up, no, I'm just saying it did it so well that it stepped into the forefront, and a lot of things will clone after it. But we finally have a game, and it's about time for that.
Okay. All right. So solid like Hogwarts Legacy. All right, Moby, what you got?
Um, I got a few things, but we're gonna start off with the one that surprised me. It took him forever to release this movie, and I was thoroughly surprised by Avatar.
Hmm.
I actually liked it. I actually liked Avatar.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought too.
It's the same story. They've told it over and over again. It was the visuals that got me. I was into it. It held me. I liked it.
It's Purdy, huh?
It's Purdy.
Well, I will piggyback on this. I have not seen the second movie only because I I didn't enjoy the first movie, right? I thought it was great looking, but I didn't really like the movie itself. I was like, yeah, okay. But when you look at the visuals and the things that it spawned off, if you get a chance, we went to Disney back in January, and the Avatar ride that they have there, where you get to actually go to the world and you're riding on the back of the dragon, because that's what the ride is. The VR for that is absolutely amazing. Hats off to Disney for that one. That might be one of the best rides in the entire park. You literally drop and move and feel like you're on the back of that dragon. When you are going across the water actually sprays up on you. The air blows through you. They pulled out all the stops for this.
Yeah, you got to look.
The only thing they could have done to make this any better would probably have been to actually make the actual seats feel like the actual dragon and leather itself. Other than that, everything from the movements, I was getting dizzy at a couple of points. The drops felt like real drops. When you were just like descending really quick, or when you're pulling back and having to stop and float. Amazing, right? Amazing. So just for that, I will give James Cameron a little more credit because he definitely inspired all of that.
Yeah, well,
That being said, I'm probably gonna watch it when it comes on TBS.
hey, well, you still gonna watch it, bro?
Maybe.
I'm not.
Right.
I'm not.
Look,
I'm not
maybe.
watching it.
They still, even if you hate watching, they still winning.
I'm not gonna hate watch, please. I'm on the back half of my life. I am not hate
there you
watching
go.
anything.
Me neither.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Welcome to the train, Dr. Law. Yes.
Bruh, I'm older than you. I've been on the train. So
Yeah. I hate watch stuff no more. I ain't got time for it.
No, man, time is way too fleeting with all the other stuff.
Mhm.
Well, my daughter wanted to see it, so I said, let's go.
Look, I understand. If my wife wants to watch it, I will watch it with her. Right? That's the deal.
I
So I
ain't
need-
watching it. You could pay me money. I ain't watching it, but that's just me.
And on the bandwagon of that, the next movie I saw was another movie
It-
that I had no intention of seeing for me, and that's Ant-Man and the Wasp 3.
Quantum Mania?
Yeah.
Oh, so we
Mhm.
doing doubles. Go ahead, man. What you got? And then we'll circle back to Big Mo B for his second.
All right. Hey, I'm gonna go with something that's currently dropping, and the new episode should have dropped today. And if you look at the shirt that my man Archangel David is wearing right now, he's got the MHA pullover. I am firmly entrenched and a supporter of the All for One movement. My Hero Academia. That man is a whole complete villain, and I am here for it.
Yeah,
I know everyone's trying to like watch Deku's journey. Nah, I don't care about Deku's journey right now. Yes, I like what they've done with it, and I think they did a great job of crafting how the power works and all of the other stuff. Right? I think that's great. However, my man All for One, man, whole villain. Like, what? You think you finna kill me? What? Oh, you thought I was leaving you in charge? What? I'm like, all right then.
He's
that man manipulating everybody for a long time.
That man pulled the outcast, right? He pulled the big boy. He said, I got a backup plan to the backup plan to back up my backup plan.
Well, I will refrain from saying anything from retorting to that, unless it be a spoiler.
Whole villain.
They wrote him well. He played a long game well. I do think they fell into the same trapping though that Naruto Shippuden fell into. You know, pushing the villain probably too hard in the end, where all that up for the hero. Which
are y'all reading the manga?
No, I am not. I am only watching the television show, sir. And right now, the television show is lovely.
Okay. What I'm saying is that's all of this stuff that you're saying. Read the manga. He ain't as bad as you think he is. I'm just gonna tell you that.
On TV, he is.
Yeah, well,
we ain't on TV. It just TV ain't caught up.
Sir, you asked me what I like. I like the TV
TV
show.
Ain't caught up yet.
I like the TV show.
So there you go.
But that man did cause a wave of absolute destruction, you know, which was just ridiculous. He was a well-written villain. I mean, at the end, lose in most comics, so you know, he gonna go out.
Well, was it him
here's the other
was
thing.
it Shigaraki?
Ernie.
Hold on. Here's the deal, and I really like one of the things I've always liked from the time I was a kid, and I would write, and we'd always come up with our own characters and everything else. Is I don't mind standard powers that you see every day, but make them work differently. Give me a plausible something else. How
you
they
want to
work,
be wild,
right?
You want something new.
Well, I don't even need something new, but make it a little creative, right? And there are powers in that show leading up to right in this season as you introduce other villains in X, Y, and Z, right? Where I'm like, oh wow, I like that, right? Like we've seen, like, case in point, we've seen characters that, you know, hey, technically I'm a functional gun, whether it was Tech-9 and Blood Syndicate to Bushwhacker over in Marvel, where, cybernetics, I got, you know, my arm's a gun, blah, 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 blah. And then my hero is like, nah, watch, I can do this and this, right? And they even have a cut scene where there's another hero who basically is a functional gun that goes, oh, I'm good. This person's way better than me. I don't even know how she does it, right? And it's like, that's good writing, and I appreciate that.
Yes. I mean, hell, Deku is a well-written
Mm-hmm.
man. You know, so it works. You can take old concepts and make them interesting again.
Yes,
Well,
and I
mean,
enjoy that.
and it's not to me. It's not like I don't know. It's not necessarily stuff that's really new. It's just like you're throwing a bunch of different things in a blender. That's what it reminds me of. I mean, because it's clear that Horikoshi obviously is influenced by American superhero comics, and I would argue that he does American superhero comics better than the big two in particular are doing it right now. But there's also like dashes of Star Wars, like completely thrown into this, like 100%. Um, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just to reiterate, y'all watching the anime, the manga is like, I'm telling you, like it gets way better and things get flipped like on their head. And I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
this,
Look,
what's the
it
name?
flipped more than it's already flipped because it flipped.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, you don't get it. It flips again. Big Mo B knows what I'm
Oh,
talking
that's
about.
awesome.
All
Look,
I'm gonna
awesome.
say is Shigaraki.
Trust me,
Look,
man.
as long as it keeps getting flipped, I'm in.
It's Shigaraki. Shigaraki is
Shigaraki is way worse than All for One.
Oh yeah.
Like
Well,
way worse.
He's a-
Even, well, hold on. If that's the case, even
Right.
better. Look, if that's the case, even better.
But at the
Sign
end
me
of the
up.
day, ain't none of them Palpatine. So there you go.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
Goon.
Yes,
You
I
know,
did.
He's riding by his guy.
Yes, I did.
Well,
Anybody
that's
who
something
can
that
control the
Palpatine
galaxy, the
That-
whole galaxy.
That's something that Palpatine did. Something that only we've seen All for One do, and that's build a better villain
Mhm.
that work for them. And
That's what he did.
that's what
So-
that's going on this because we Shigaraki.
And so to injury that he made that villain out of one of his enemies and children, you know. So it's like, come
What?
on, man. The
No,
grandchild.
well, think about it. Even in the beginning, what his right hand man, the portal guy,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh
that dude was created out of one of his enemies.
yeah, yeah. It's hilarious, man. The dude, I'm sorry, he's just a well-written villain.
Yes.
At the end of the day, he created even better villains.
Those
Like,
freaking Nomus.
yeah, the dude, his plans and his machinations. Of course, like I say, it comes
That's
to
the doctor. The doctor has to get a shout out with that, man. Because
Yeah.
all for One's not doing half of that stuff he's doing without the doctor. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
even without the doctor's quirk,
Oh, yeah.
he's not doing any of that. So
Is a main character. I mean, look at what he did. He took that plan and pushed it to its fruition. You're right. It wouldn't have happened.
but not just that. Remember, his quirk is longevity, and he
Yeah.
gave All for One his quirk. That's the only reason why All for One is really still, virile like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, this dovetails into my like, because I let y'all have y'all 2 likes, and I ain't even got one yet.
I ain't got no.
I'm just saying some of y'all had 2. So listen, the Bad Batch. Now this goes back to my boy Palpatine. Palpatine pulled a move in one of those episodes with the Bad Batch where he was able to blame the clones for things just like he did the Jedi, and effectively got the public to not sympathize with the clones in any form or fashion. That was like pure brilliance right there. Pure brilliance.
It was
I've been
way it went. Either way that decision went, it was going to be to his benefit, regardless. And the empire was going to be set up the way he wanted to. There's nothing you could do if you're sitting there playing chess and the person you're playing against is playing Battlestar Galactica. Like he's in a whole different game. He's running the entire series, and you think he's moving left and right, and he's already 40 steps ahead in a whole other series.
And see, I haven't started this season yet.
Bruh.
I haven't started this season yet.
These Yeah, these clone episodes, like the ones that focus primarily on what's happening with the clones,
Hmm.
are way better. Like again, I always say like the stuff with Omega is trash. Like the show would do
It's
itself much better if it focused
sir, it's
just on
Omega.
them.
It's Omega.
Well,
Say it
you
right.
know, Aussie accent, you know, but still, I mean that show's been really good in terms of building out like the canon, building out the lore, like even more, and even showing just how terrible the Empire really was, like how Palpatine was getting down and scrubbing everybody off the map.
Which sucks because the Acolyte show got canceled.
Hmm.
I don't know, man. I was looking forward to that.
All right, all right. So, Big Moby, what was your second like? I forgot.
Ant
Ant-Man
Man.
and the Wasp,
Oh, Ant-Man. Right.
Quantum
Yeah.
Mania, which was just a pure good movie. It was just a good time. It was
Ugh.
it wasn't like it did anything. I didn't go there looking for them to push the Marvel landscape. You know, the
I'm
villain is
I'm
so much
sitting here
bigger.
cracking up watching Dwight's face.
When,
You know why? You know why it was a good time for me? I had no prerequisites. I didn't walk into it thinking that it should do this and it follow this. There's an agenda. It followed the same old trope that they do. They made it funny, and I got into the story. I liked it. It told a simple good story with a lot of graphics.
oh yeah, well, that whole movie is CGI, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I ain't got no problem with that as long as the CGI is good.
Hmm.
I wasn't, and
Mm.
again, I wasn't there to pick it
Mm.
apart. I wasn't really
Mm.
stringently into it like that. I wasn't even intending to go see it. So it is what it is. I hear a lot of human and Han and what's going on.
Well, so I went to the advanced screening, and I will stand by the statements I've made, which is I enjoyed the film.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed several characters and how they dealt with things in the film in certain areas. Yes, the criticisms are valid, right? A lot of times we go, they're just haters on the internet. Criticisms are valid in a lot of cases, right?
Right.
And I'm the person that I do try to remain objective with certain things. And here's what I will say: 100%, the quality of CG in Marvel has considerably dropped across the spectrum. Period. That was still very, very evident in parts of Quantum Mania. And what I will say about the movie, without giving anything away, is this: the parts
Give it
that are
away. I
good,
mean, people have seen it. People have
the
seen it,
parts
bro.
that are good are really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But the parts that are bad are actually truly bad. And I will say this: some of it is the writing and messaging, right? In this one, the ending with MODOK and Cassie and the heavy-handed speech sounded it sounded forced and it sounded fake. It really, really changed.
The fact that they're making jokes while this man is dying, I thought that was poor taste.
Well, and they went, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, who in the writers' room thought that going like continuing it, like you made a joke, cool, but it's when you continue to just kick the same joke
and
down
double
the
down
road
on it.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, cut. Somebody cut.
The whole MODOK motif was a damn joke from beginning to end.
Well, if you think about it, right, I kept it in this perspective. If you look at the character that MODOK is, right, Darren made sense for what this movie is and what it should look like, right? He's a giant floating head with tiny legs and tiny arms, right? Designed for killing. They got that part right.
Right.
But the excessive humor and things that were done really, really kind of threw things to the side. Like they threw heavy-handed messaging in various points. Like the whole don't be a dick thing. And it's like, I'm like, what is this? right? This is like a really shittily written TikTok after school special.
Yeah, see, from what I heard, that
You've
was
been good, the Archangel David. I'm
yeah.
curious to hear what you have
Um,
to say.
when I heard about the first screening that was done for it, the comedy wasn't there. From
Hmm.
what, and a lot of that was added because it's believed that that is necessary in Marvel movies, you know, as part of their flair and their gimmick. So a lot of that was added after the fact, and probably to the movie's detriment, because the
Yeah.
movie was supposed to be their serious film.
And they
So-
threw away the series. I'm gonna be honest. They threw away the series. They threw it away.
I think if they would have dialed it back, it would have been a much better film overall. Because, like I said, the parts that I felt that were good were really good, and I enjoyed it. But those things really pulled me completely out of the film at parts where I was like, man, okay, just shit, right? And I don't even like saying that because honestly, Ant-Man should be the funny one of all the franchises. I don't think it should have been Thor, right? It makes sense for Ant-Man, given who Paul Rudd is, his acting style, the charisma that he brings to the character, and what have you. All of that makes sense. I think in Thor, it's way too forced, right?
Well, and bruh,
So-
he's riding ants. Like, how is
Right.
that just not funny? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, but I'm gonna tell you, dang is that dude. Hats off to Jonathan Majors. Just for being Jonathan Majors. I have a running joke that I would at least like to see my brother smile at one point because I don't ever see that man smile nowhere. But
He's stressed though. He's stressed. I get it to him.
he's so stressed all the time. But I'm gonna tell you, between Kang and
He
the
smiles.
other characters that they allowed him to play, especially during the cutscene,
Yes. Yes.
I'm good.
Yes.
I'm good.
That's
Right?
it.
I'm good, and I want variants, just like
Well-
they did with Loki.
Well, that's what they said. I mean,
Right?
He That Remains
I
what
want
told you
all
that
the
they were
variants
coming.
at conventions this year,
Listen,
everywhere.
that Kang cutscene lets you know that this next series is going to be serious. It's going to be serious. The Pharaoh. I'm into it. I can't wait.
He's not Pharaoh. Who is he?
Look,
You want that?
Ramatut.
He's
Ramatut.
Ramatut. Ramatut.
That's right. I probably think Apocalypse is Imhotep or something like that.
Mhm.
So you got to see Roman. You've got to see Kane the Conqueror. You've seen Immortal.
Immortus.
Mhm.
I guess that other one was supposed to be a Scarlet Centurion.
You got He Who Remains. So,
All right, and
Yeah.
then
but did you look around that stadium? They said, "Hey, man, go nuts."
Mhm.
We went nuts.
I think
Well-
the only that wasn't in there was Iron Lad, right?
Yeah, that's the only one we didn't see.
Yeah.
I had the thing about it was with the CGI. I was reading some stuff where they were talking about how most of the CGI resources were put into Wakanda Forever, and that's why the CGI suffered for that particular film.
Wait,
they
y'all
tried to
don't have
fix it
money?
later.
That
Don't
sounds
you-
horrible.
It was
That
put in
sounds
that.
like a cop out. Y'all got money.
No,
Y'all
well,
printing
they
money.
don't. Well, it's a very. I'll post the article with the podcast, but it talks about how they don't have unlimited budget and resources and money like people think that they do, and that they actually outsource that stuff, which I didn't realize. I thought that it was all ILM internal stuff, but apparently it's not. Actually,
Well, I'm going to tell you as a person who helps manage various contractors on my service we provide as our servicing, it's function. Their CGI is functioning about as the same. Okay, it is what we deal with at work every day.
I mean, I get it. I mean, but
Like,
as one who manages
outsource-
contracts, you have to stay in budget.
Look,
So-
man, then that's the problem, right? Oh, we're only going to do what's in budget, and it's like, hey, bro,
That's what they
quality
did.
quality of work. You may not want to outsource because
Yeah.
But,
eventually someone's head's going to roll for that.
Well, I mean, but we've seen the same thing with She-Hulk. Like we've had this consistent
Oh.
running argument with that.
Yeah.
So
That,
I mean, it is what it is. I think my issue with it was Kang getting taken out by ants,
Yeah.
smart ants. Like that was just really stupid, in my opinion. Like I was just like, really,
To
this
be
man
honest-
got a force field, and the ants cut through the force field and damage his
Well,
suit.
What to
hey,
be
man,
honest about that particular
I'm like,
part,
really?
they didn't have anything really to stand up to Kang. Let's just be honest. They
Exactly.
had absolutely nothing. So they had to pull
well,
some
you got
out
to
of
think
the
it wasn't necessarily ants. It's smart ants, but overwhelming numbers also, right? He had already been fighting X, Y, and Z. You're talking about it in colonies, right?
Cap,
There
this
are
is cap.
things at play.
And his shield
Right.
did hold him off for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and he's got an entire swarm of giant ants that are advanced with technology on top of him.
Right. And it wasn't
Yeah.
like they killed him. It was, things happened.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, it's believable. And then he still came back from that. It wasn't like it was over with.
Nah, I don't buy it.
Yeah,
I don't buy that.
This man from the 31st century with technology people never even dreamt of or heard of. He mopped the floor with some of the most powerful beings out there. There ain't no way.
He'll tell you that. He told you that in this.
Right. He told you flat out. Wait, didn't I kill this dude?
Which eventually you. I've killed you so many times. I don't know. I don't really know which one you are.
Yeah, he had me rolling when he said that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that, and then he got beat by ants.
Right.
It's something. That's a joke.
I get it. I get what whatever.
I mean, it is Ant-Man movie, so I guess the ants have to.
The ants literally won in this one. Because if the ants did not show up, it was over.
It was a work. They got work.
Right.
He was not stressed. I'm feel like he was not stressed. He said, "If I got to do this, I got to do this myself."
Hey, I think that's great, right? I think that's great. You need a villain that's going to show up and work everybody if you're going to continue to build like that.
Yeah, but to me, like, I don't know. I was expecting him to like extract some serious like infliction of damage such that there would be like a Pyrrhic victory, but we didn't get none of that. Like I was
Nah,
like, wow.
we got the setup. We got
Yeah,
the setup.
it still feels like it's a setup. It feels like Kang is such a big character. We were starting to see him show up almost everywhere.
Hey man, I'm not even convinced that version of Kang is completely dead, right? I know they said, oh, well, he was blah blah blah, right? Because they didn't. The three of them at the end didn't like him anyway.
Yeah, he was the worst. He's the one that they banished. He was the worst.
Right.
One.
So, but they also still have their plans. I'm like, watch this fool pop back up once.
I can believe.
Look, it's going to end up being like Menace to Society, right? The three of them going to be running through there, and Kang going to pop up, and they're like, dang, I didn't know he was going to come back like that.
See, but the thing is, you don't even need him to come back. Kang is just regular Kang is such a problem. You don't even need that. So I mean,
that's
I
why
hope they
I want him. I
actually
want
have
all
him
the look.
laid
I
down.
want to have all the problems.
Oh, they
Well,
getting
that's
all
the
them
thing, though,
problems.
in this.
I want them to have all the problems at this point.
They
I don't
getting
think we
that
met
work.
regular Kang yet. To be honest, I don't think we've met our Kang, the Avenger villain that's going to show up. I don't think we even met him yet. I think they're just introducing us to Kang with all these. Period. I think that's what this is.
Think about it. We got a couple of movies called the
Mm.
Kang Dynasty.
It's not
Right.
even. I mean,
It's gonna be like,
remember,
look, it's gonna be like the Lakers or Rockefeller in the 2000s.
this
Put
is
your diamonds up.
this is what he who remains told you. He already told you all
Yep.
this.
Mhm.
They just showed it to you. He already said all this about.
He said
There was a
there are
version of me
others
I settled.
and there are worse.
Yeah, he said there are worse. He talked about how he settled, like there was the Kang War, and he settled it and created the sacred timeline and blah blah blah. And I guess him dying and then this one dying, they're just like, oh well, it's back on and popping.
Yep.
Remember that scene in Lord of the Rings where they're all hungry and oh boy kills a goblin and says, "Meat's back on the menu, boys." That's pretty much what that was.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
On, bro. It's on until Doctor Doom show up.
There you go.
Yeah,
Hey,
there you
I'm
go.
good with that.
There you go. I think there's only two real big villains that's major for Marvel at this point that can show up. That's going to change the landscape again. That's Galactus and Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I mean, think about it. They've got a lot of stuff.
Apocalypse could show up. Sinister could
They-
show up. There's
They don't even need the X-Men. Think
we
about
got
it.
options.
They've got obviously they've got Kang, they've got Doom. We know that at some point we're gonna have to see the leader, so the leader is gonna come. And there's
he's not even
there's
going to be
a
that
few-
effective.
There's a few other ones that are out. I mean, we're gonna get the
Well, actually,
Intelligentsia or the
we've already
Masters of
seen-
Evil.
We've
So
already seen the leader.
yeah. And
Right.
We're talking about the Hulk villain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
seen him.
Yeah, he's coming.
That Hulk
Mm.
film, that Hulk film is canon to what
Yeah.
we're dealing
No,
with.
I know you saw him get created, but you
Yeah, but-
haven't seen him.
No, but they said he's that villain is coming back.
hmm
Okay.
Well, I mean, he never
Lamar-
left. You just saw him get created. Nothing happened to him.
Right.
didn't do
No,
nothing.
Marvel has said this is now going to be used.
I know. No, I
Oh
know.
yeah, Annihilus. We haven't seen Annihilus yet.
You haven't seen the Nihilist. That's
But
true.
Fantastic Four and all of them. We need more build up, man, before
Yeah.
they met Nihilus.
Okay.
I agree.
All right.
These
All right,
characters
boys.
all will require build up. Galactus needs build up, and that's Fantastic Four.
Mhm.
Apocalypse. I don't
Yeah.
think Apocalypse needs build up. He shows up, he is the build up. But that's X-Men. And both of these are to be added to this already giant pot that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then keep in mind, and then also we got Namor now. So
Yeah,
it's not
we-
like they don't have things or villains that they could do.
they got plenty of stuff. But at the end of the day, we got the incursions going on. We got Secret War coming, and we got Kang, and all three of those things lead to Doctor Doom.
They do. They do.
Hey, dude.
Yeah. And
And
speaking
you're right,
of
they have been
villainous,
speaking on incursions a lot. Like they
Mhm.
actually called it incursions in this movie. So
They sure did.
Mhm.
And in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
so you're right. That's
Yeah,
another
you got to deal with
spot that's going
Strange
to build
too.
up, and that includes everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you got Dormammu out
Mhm.
there. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's still out there.
Yeah,
So,
well, we already figured out how to trick him very simply.
so with that being said, let's flip into the hatred.
Mm.
Oh, wait a minute. What, just one more light, make it
All right.
fast.
Go ahead.
Freaking excellent job with Last of Us, man, the TV show.
Haven't
All right.
watched.
Haven't
Yo.
watched it yet.
Been
Bruh.
busy.
Respect,
busy.
Bruh.
for a long time, I did not think they could make a good live action video game, TV show, here in America. Because
What'd you say? Here's looking at you, Resident Evil.
I'm looking at all of that ish. The first Super Mario Brothers movies, Double Dragon, all of that crap. Trash. Just trash all around. Halo, trash, garbage.
Street Fighter.
I like
Paramount,
Halo.
you know what? But, however, The Last of Us, HBO, man, excellent job. My God, some of them scenes, you can literally just watch the game on one screen and watch the show on the other screen and see just how much of it they captured. And put in.
Especially the first episode. The first
Oh.
episode, like I played the first chapter of the game, and then I watched that. I was like, oh my God. Like it was even like the cop car going down the street, like blazing down, just like all that stuff they kept. Like they completely kept that.
Yeah, they have little changes here and there, swaps, different stuff, but it is the game. The essence of it is there. The characterizations are there. A lot of the sequences that happen, they're there. And the filler episodes work well too because they flesh out characters and things that you didn't get to see in the game that would have been going on in their lives. I'm like, this right here, okay, I mess with it. I hope they can keep it up. But please don't jump into the second game immediately with season 2. Give me
I
some
don't think
more.
they will.
Yeah, I hope that they tell us the in-between story that we didn't get to see because a lot of years passed between those two games, and I want to see them on the run after he handled business, like he's gonna handle in the last episode of this season.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, I'll attach my second like to yours. Of course, the Mando. The Mando's been great so far. We're getting back into lore. Mandalore. Sorry. Bad dad joke. But still the same. Like we get to see the mythosaur. Like that was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, I was like not expecting to see the mythosaur like at all. And seeing Baby Yoda handle his business, and I mean, a lot of people have been upset about like some of the humor that they interjected into it, but I think it's kind of funny. Like when the creatures who were working on IG-11 called Baby Yoda bad baby, like that actually made me laugh. It just came out of nowhere. They
Bad
said, no,
baby.
bad baby. And it's how he says it too that makes it even funnier. But yeah, I mean, it's been
that kind of coming to get from Men in Black. It seems the worm.
yeah,
That's what they were like.
yeah. No, that's true. That's a good parallel. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but that's been good. All right, so now to the hatred. Everybody gets one hate because we're pressed for time.
All right, well, I'm pissed off at this, $100 expansion in Destiny 2, man.
Oh God, I knew that was coming.
I'm disappointed. I'm sorry, man. Last year we got the Witch Queen, and that was on the level of when Cade 6 died. I mean, it was that good. So we had high expectations for spending our money. They've been hyping this thing up, been hyping this story up, but hyping this gameplay up through the roof for a year, just in our ear, talking about Lightfall, 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 and the Witness and all this other hot garbage. And when we get it, the story is flat as hell for that main quest that you go through. And you're left basically knowing nothing and feeling nothing. It's like, what the hell was this? Was it pretty? Yes. Was it difficult? Yes. They put that difficulty scale way up there, made it kind of ridiculous. But did you get anything out of it after all of that? You're just left with your hands like, what the fuck happened? Like, what was that? Does anybody know what's going on? What did this mean? It felt
we
filler.
still don't know what the veil is. Like we have no idea. We don't know why. Like the other thing is that I agree with you that there should have been we should have saw the witnesses people or his lackeys. Like we shouldn't have just gotten more cabal stuff.
Yeah.
We should have gotten more of the same, races doing stuff again. Like it was just lazy.
It's very lazy. You built this beautiful new world, right? But then nobody's on it. You literally talk about how we're going to Neo Muna, where this whole civilization of humans have evolved and they live separate from us. So everything is different. Technology is different, blah, blah, blah. And we get there and it's just a giant empty city. Nothing is there. Oh, well, we downloaded everybody's consciousness into the cloud. What? Shut up. Lazy ass.
Well, for safekeeping, but I mean, you should have, defrosted some people.
Yeah, but where
there should be more than 2 Cloud Striders as well.
Yeah, that's 2 people going to defend an entire city by themselves. Mind you, the Guardians, they didn't know the Guardians were coming, that we were going to show up and just help them out. They hadn't seen us since the collapse. So they couldn't have counted on that. And you literally 2 protectors. It's freaking stupid, man. Every part of that story is stupid and flat and ridiculous. The raid, bruh. Why are Cabal the entire raid? That makes 0 sense. Why are they on the Witnesses ship like that? Where are the new races that we should be seeing from this, galaxy conquering being? You talking to Lure about all these other races that he has under his thrall, but we never see him. And then literally the Cabal are running his ship. The person running the machine that captures and destroys planets is a Cabal. What? That makes no sense.
Yeah, it definitely like I mean, there's some cool things about it. Like I like some of the weapons, but overall, yeah, it was a
They got
disappointment.
well, they got your money. That's
We,
all
we,
that
we
matters.
one new thing, the tormentor. But then they took that one tormentor and stretched that thing all over the place, and then made the last boss of the raid a giant tormentor.
You had to know that was coming.
I'm just sitting here like, but what? You talked about how Callus helped create these tormentors. If the giant boss of the raid, who's millions of years old, is a giant tormentor, then how did Callus have anything to do with what's going on right here?
Makes no sense.
I,
All right.
I another Rogue experience at least. Give me something that was totally unique
All
that you
right,
did.
Madman, who you got for hatred?
Whew, right now, I don't have a lot of hate going on per
Oh,
se
none
because
for Hasbro?
no, well, no, and here's why. There are parts of Hasbro that, of course, aren't great, but then there are parts of Hasbro like the stuff that dropped this week, fantastic, right? There are several things that have happened with Hasbro this week that have been great, right? When I look at the no, I will go with the hatred. I got one. Dumping $30 million worth of product, or $35 million worth of product, right? Right. That's my hate, like, right?
Hate
Where a
like.
product that I hate
They don't
obviously
hate it.
is doing what I want it to do. So yes,
Well, that's a like. That's not a hate.
it is. I hate Funko.
So I said you got to do a hatred, not a hate
Look,
like.
I hate Funko.
Okay, that's been established. All right, so you don't really have one. Moby, we'll
I,
go
I
to you.
I have no hate, man. Right, not right now.
Right now, my current hate is over. I'm actually kind of upset with a series, and that's Star Trek. Right now, they're not doing themselves any justice. Brave New World is great, but Picard is pissing me off. This next season, they've gone and made him a baby daddy. Not just a baby daddy, delinquent baby daddy. This just found out he got a son and he already grown. They turned Beverly Crush into a baby mama.
Hey, that happens. That happens in space sometimes, bro.
It happens in space, exactly, right? What they did last season, blasphemy.
Well, and then what cracks me up about it is how they name him Jack Crusher, which is his baby mama's husband, dead husband. And then he turns around and said, well, I would have named you Jack too. I was like, what is that? Like, what is that? Like, that's almost as bad as what was her name? Martha. Like, come on, man.
Right. Like his dad doesn't have the name throughout the universe, Picard. Jack. John Luke Picard. I'm just not in a good place with any of it right now. There's so many problems. It's the first time we've seen anyone use a tractor beam like this. Wesley did this. Wesley did it with an asteroid and a ship. Come on now. Did you just throw an asteroid and hit a ship? They just threw a ship and hit you. What are you talking about? Oh my God.
Well, and then the other thing too is with the whole revelation that Picard has a son, it just smacks of like Star Trek 2 with David and Kirk. Like it's the same thing. And they go into the nebula and they're about to die in this nebula. I'm like, this is so a lot of people are like, oh, this is great. And I'm like, no, this is just reheated soup. That's exactly what this is.
They doing the same thing Star Wars did. They just reheating everything, all the hits from the past is coming back in the future. This is all of it. They've done all this before.
Even the stuff with the changelings, like the changeling stuff. I mean, that's kind of interesting because it seems like the changelings are different. But to me, they would have done better to focus on Worf and Rafi in that mission. because that's actually interesting. And the reveal, what do you think about the reveal that that Worf was her handler? I thought that was
great.
interesting.
That was good. Worf coming in like a ninja. He's cutting the head off and then showing it.
Smooth off.
So much for being a pastor. That's over.
Listen,
Well,
Worf,
he still is he's like a monk, a warrior monk. That's pretty much
exactly
what he is.
But then he goes with this woke, I'm working on myself. This that wasn't necessary. But okay, listen, Raffi bothers me. She's bothering me. She bothers me. I don't know why she gets on my nerves. I don't like the character. I just don't. I just don't. If anything, I liked her more in the second one, and the relationship her and Seven was working on, and now Seven is off on the ship doing her. I don't know. I'm just not feeling Star Trek right now. The Discovery is being canceled, and it was always mid. It felt like it had so much further to go. It could have got even better, but we're on this last season. I guess they're gonna go out with a bang. I hope. Prodigy up front, I understand it gets better, but it's for kids. And Lower Decks is okay. It's okay. I like it, but
Well, at least we got the Orville.
right.
When
I'm
the
just
joke
saying.
show, the real
Huh?
thing. So when the
The
joke
what?
show better than the real thing.
But it's really
Well,
not a
Strange New
joke
World.
show.
Strange New World is Star Trek right now. It is. But they got a second season. I'm afraid what they're going to do because Picard is killing all the major villains. They just flip all the major villains. The Dominion is off doing whatever. The changelings have split. Really? The Great Link is everything for them. They created Dominion because they didn't want Solid to come in and mess with the Great Link no more. And some of them want to split off to go fuck with the Federation of Solid on purpose. Really?
Again?
Really?
Like that was kind of crazy.
Why? The Solids know to leave them alone. You leave them alone, they won't you up. It's just
Well,
that.
and the Dominion kind of knew that they should leave people alone. Like they should
Right.
come back into Alpha Quadrant again.
You have a whole quadrant that you take, and you can hold off the board. Don't even worry about anything else. You're good. On that, the board. What happened to the board?
No,
They
they need to
had
not
that
bring
money.
the Borg back again. Like that's the MacGuffin like of Star Trek right now.
Well, they killed them. They destroyed them. You saw what they did. They don't even look like Borg anymore. They look like they got face paint drawn on their face, like they've been hanging out with Southern rappers. It's ridiculous. And Cybernetic is gone, and
I love it.
And now the queen is some
Southern
weird
rappers.
kid case doctor. It's not even the queen anymore.
Oh,
The
God.
queen brought an element of sensual, robotic craziness, alien, but you wanted to hit it. Like it's crazy. The new queen is retarded. She is ridiculous all the way around, and she is still ridiculous. She's scary, and she's. Oh man, I'm done. I'm done with it. They were between them and the Daleks. They're my favorite villains, and
Well, this is my hatred spinning off of Doctor Who. You saw that Disney is getting involved in Doctor Who. They
took it
are
over.
funding. They are partially funding Doctor Who, this current series, and I'm like, oh my God, like, what is this really? Huh?
Did they buy the property?
They
No,
didn't buy it,
over,
but they will be the only distributor in the United States, and they're funding part of the production of it.
Which means
Exactly.
they're over what happens on set.
Exactly.
The
And
same thing they're
scripts.
doing with Bleach. They bought and took over Bleach. So
And I'm
you
like,
want to
at
see
some
the
point,
or you're going through them.
yeah, at some point, Congress has got to stop Disney, like, because they're gonna have a virtual monopoly on they've already got like pretty much everything I enjoyed in my childhood at this point. Like all they needed to get is Transformers and G.I. Joe, and that's it. Like it's pretty much
that ain't happening.
Probably trying to buy Hasbro. So
I know that won't happen, but I'm just saying there's an alternate future where Disney probably buys everything. Like I'll send you the timeline. It's hilarious.
Look, they should probably buy Funko.
No, it's actually Disney's fault.
Finish
that
it
Funko
off.
is where they are. All of those multiple like Star Wars and
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Funkos that no one really asked for. That in The Office. I'm blaming The Office too, because we got all these Office Dwight doing this. Not our friend Dwight, but Dwight the character. All these various ones, and I'm like, no one wants that. Like that show's like old. Like, why are you still making Funkos from that? It's not current. Like, whatever.
Because people are still buying the T-shirts.
They should have had one run of Office Funkos. That's it. Because
That
that's
should have
all.
been it.
That should have been
Yeah.
it. Just for your nostalgia, here you go, and then move on. But
Yep.
they never understood how to limit things. They overdid a lot of Funkos.
They did. They absolutely did. And it wasn't so much that, but they did the blacklight versions of things, and they did the chrome versions of things, and now they're doing the facet versions of things, and they're this a lot of times it's the same sculpt.
Mhm.
And then the glow in the dark. Everything became glow in the dark, blacklight, chrome, or even flopped. Like that was just like they're the same versions or different versions of the same sculpt. So why would you continue to buy it?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. You don't have to continue to buy it if you never start buying it in the first place.
Well,
Hey,
there's a lot of
like me.
Look,
Right?
I
don't buy it.
some Funkos I do believe is worth copping. Some of them are just really cool and they do a good job with the character. Now,
Yep.
I ain't finna go buy 1,000 of them, but I'm gonna buy, relevant ones.
Hey, you could get 1,000 of them for like $10.
Well, and here's the thing.
Buy one,
I mean,
get 10,000 free.
it's the same thing. It happens with everyone. Like, I mean, hell, look at your boys Hasbro, how they keep doing these warehouse sales. And I know a lot of y'all figure collectors aren't buying the things like, that they keep spitting out either.
You mean like the fact that you can walk into any Walmart in the USA and find 8 Baronesses and 8 Lady J's in the retro carded section?
Oh, and you can still buy Eternals?
Let's not even talk about that.
You know,
Look, I knew those weren't going to sell. But to their credit, I will say this, because that first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, that wave, we were in Five Below buying those when we originally bought them. So,
yep. Oh yeah, no, Five Below has plenty of Funkos right now too. So
everywhere.
They're not filling landfills. I mean, everybody does it. Sony filled up landfills too, and so did Square Enix recently with all the dang Forsaken games that didn't sell. So
everything will go the way of the ET cartridges from the 80s.
Well, I mean, and I think we've talked about this elsewhere, man. It's, now things are leveling back to where they were pre-pandemic. People don't have that stimmy money sitting around, right? Stimmies. No, people aren't flush with cash. Inflation. I think we've all talked about this, right? The nature of collecting and what people are willing to spend money on right now. When you start looking at the fact that prices have gone up with figures and things like that, and you get less for what you're paying for right now, and you're paying more, and then you see a glut of X, Y, and Z. Why should I buy a retro carded Baroness if it's going to be on clearance in 6 months?
Yeah, if you're afraid, then you can't flip that. It's a worthless buy.
Right. The motorcycle one you can still flip. The original that came with the coil motorcycle, right? Those are still hot, right? But the retro carded one looks fantastic. Made way too many of them, right? And the Lady J thing, it's something I was discussing with someone else. The updated G.I. Joe, current Lady J, did not sell well. So I'm not sure why you rolled out the retro carded one in the volume that you did, right? Because it was packed with a retro Gung Ho, retro Baroness, retro Destro, right? And when you don't make them too different from what you've already put out, what's my incentive to go back and buy that? Like when I look at the retro card Lady J and I look at the new classified Lady J, I go, it's not different enough for me to buy that, right? and
Mhm.
that figure did not sell well. The Gung Ho's sold, right? They're gone. Destro's pretty much gone, right?
I know I
But
flipped mine.
but you've got stacks of Lady J and Baroness, right? And Baroness is a
And Flint.
hugely popular character, right?
Uh-huh. But we know why. We know why. We know the answer to that question. It's the crap we've been talking about since we started this podcast, bro. We understand why. And they are still making them same mistakes.
Man, yes.
You know, chasers is what those characters used to be. They were the mofos. When you bought the case, it was because 3 of them was in the entire case, and you had to have them because of the rarity. You know what they were. Now this whole thing of thinking that things are equal in that regard is BS. It is. They don't know who their market is anymore, so they make mistakes, and they're gonna lose their shirt over it, bro.
Yeah, they are. I think I think next year's numbers are going to be really, really bad because I know tons of people like, no, I'm not buying this, and I'm not buying this at an inflated price with less product, right? Less accessories. But on the flip side, you never know, right? People have complained about certain things with, like, I'll specifically say G.I. Joe from Hasbro, right? And we, the current new Flint didn't sell, but that was actually a good figure. But there's some stuff that came out like with the face sculpt on Captain Falcon, which is horrible, right? It looked kind of But then you look at what they dropped this week with them, right? Lee,
Yeah,
those
the Valkyries,
characters
the Snow
look
Jobs,
great,
the
right?
Torpedo,
They look
Copperhead,
great,
like Scrap
right?
Iron, like all that stuff looks good.
They
It
gave us
does.
a classic look Outback versus the Tiger Force thing, which I don't personally get into. And it's like, I don't know how much you think X, Y, and Z is going to sell in those color motifs when a lot of people really want the classic version.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
Or
Tiger
something
Force
that
was such a niche thing.
But they tried to sell that in a lot of Python Patrol, right? And I'm like, I don't like the highlighter yellow, right? But the stuff that they've dropped now with the women Vipers, the women Cobra Troopers in blue, that look amazing, right? They look really good. Yes. So it's like it's a crapshoot, man, because at one point they pull you back in because they'll give you something really good, and then the next go round, you're probably going to get something extremely crappy you do not want.
Oh, yeah, but they did. Did you see that they did a Black Series of Mara Jade? They did do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I'm few and far between on Black Series, right? That's the last thing I purchase at the end of the day. And mainly I'm only purchasing Sith and other clone trooper bad guys. But with that being said, I'm so stuck in Independentville right now.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. We're at time, so we'll try to do better in making more podcasts.
Yep, because I got some comics I need to plug next time. I went to Atlanta Comic Con.
Yeah, we need to talk about, I think maybe we need to do a State of Comics next episode, among other things.
Oh, I couldn't talk about that for an hour, sir. I don't even buy comics.
Well, I think that's what we need to, I think that's why we need to talk about it.
Look, I ain't even buy that comic.
I mean, I'm not buying anything new.
Look, I bought these comics because these are people that I actually saw and followed on Instagram, found it interesting, and they happened to come to Atlanta Comic Con, and I'm like, all of my Black independent creators that I follow that show up, I'm buying their product.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was a whole that was an interesting exchange because I just literally walk up, all right, give me this, and this, and they were like, and I'm like, bro, nobody's haggling, right? You don't got to try to sell me anything. I said, you don't have to sell me anything. I know what your product is. I follow you on Instagram. Give me that net, throw it in the bag. And they were like, holy shit, really? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always have tried to do when I go to, see indie creators at smaller cons. I'll just take one of everything normally.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I'm like, hook it up, bro. I'm sorry I didn't support your Kickstarter.
Yeah, they always are really shocked by that, but I don't
know,
maybe we get some indie creators on here next time, maybe.
Hey man, so yeah, let's figure that out because the antagonist is actually really popping right now.
Yeah.
Tyler
Yeah.
Martin, and got to talk to him. And then when I say it was weird because I'm literally sitting in LabCorp getting blood drawn, and there's a person in the antagonist T-shirt, and I'm like, oh bro, that's dope. You got the T-shirt. He was like, you know what this is? I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah. He was like, I was like, no, I follow y'all on Instagram. He was like, oh shoot, yeah, blah 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 blah. And then I go to Atlanta Comic Con. They were like, oh, you the dude from the? And I'm like, yeah, from the doctor's office. Let's run it. Give me the books.
That's fine. That's cool. We'll maybe get them. I'll see if I can get Jason Wise
Yep.
to get on here. Whose stuff is being
Greg got the
optioned.
Kickstarter. The he and his brother search for Sadiqa.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe we'll do that. We'll focus on doing a series, or have people on for like maybe like 10 minutes of the podcast or something like that. Just hit us in the comments and let us know if you
Cool.
think that's a good idea or not. But all right, fellas, good to see you all again.
D, you
Thanks
hitting
for
Nerdy
listening.
Grow?
No, I know
Staying
your
home?
cosplay
Huh?
your is there, but
Yeah, I've already talked to him.
I'm in chill mode until I have to be at cons, like
I understand.
Con, because I have panels there that I'm doing. I have to be at Ranger Stomp because I have panels there I'm doing. Con season for me is going to start in May.
Look, here's what's crazy. I'm out of town for all of it. I'm at a
Oh,
wedding. I'm in a wedding for MomoCon.
okay.
Ranger Pop Stop. I think I'm in Florida the whole time. So
Yeah. All right,
Then
guys.
we-
Until next time.
Peace.
peace. Yeah, I'm gonna go eat this breakfast. I'm so hungry.